I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Good evening. This is the Political Spotlight, episode 447, the Mother's Day edition. Mother's Day 2025. Hello, welcome to all of you mothers out there in the world. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do. Very, very special shout out to all of my important mothers in my life, my mother, my grandmothers, and all the other mothers out there. It is Sunday, May 11th, 2025. The time is currently 9:04 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to the rest of you non-mothers who are out there watching this, those of you that have cared to tune in live and share some time with us, whether you're here live or you're here via replay in the future. We appreciate your time. Either way, we want to thank you for giving us a little bit of your time. If you would, smash that like button before you leave, either now or at the end, preferably now so you don't forget. Smash that like button, hit the subscription button, and click that bell so you get notifications when we go live. Like yesterday. Yesterday, we are generally off on Fridays and Saturdays. However, we went live yesterday. And so for those of you that are not subscribed and haven't clicked the bell, you didn't know that because you didn't get notified that we went live on a special Saturday night. So that's why that's important. If you want to communicate with us while you're here, if you agree with what we're saying, you disagree, you just want to talk with someone in the chat, or you want to tell us we suck, whatever, communicate over here on the right-hand side if you're watching live. If you're here via replay in the future, you'll comment down at the comment section below. It's pretty self-explanatory. I also want to say something that I noticed we used to say every now and then. For those of you that watch or maybe go back and watch in segments, or for those of you that watch and then watch again for whatever reason, or you catch the show at a later date, sometimes people are like, wait a minute, why can't I see the live content, the live comments from people that are commenting during the show that haven't been put up on the screen? And it's a good thing for us to remind you that when we are live and the live comments are on the right-hand side, once the show ends, it takes about 24 hours for those to repopulate. So if somebody watches the show It's Sunday evening now, so if we get off the show here in an hour or so, hour and a half, and somebody decides to tune in at 1 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning, in a couple of hours from now, they won't be able to see any of the live comments. However, if you watch 24 hours from now, you'll be able to see the live comments. I don't know why. That's a YouTube feature. It sucks. It is what it is. We can't help it. It's something that YouTube does. But if you want to see all of the live comments, not the ones that we put up on the screen, obviously, the ones that we put up on the screen like this, you can see. However, all of the other comments, like from Les Cloud, Happy Mother's Day, from Kid Rock, from Alva, from Jeremy, from Brenda, from Tweety Bird, all of those, Tiffany, and Paula, Danny, everybody, for all those ones that I've just been putting up around there. For all of those that we don't put up, you'll have to wait 24 hours. I don't know. Some people care. Some people don't. It is what it is. We want to thank you for being here. I do want to make an announcement. I am flying solo tonight. Kate is not feeling well. She has had a migraine for the majority of the day. And since it's Mother's Day, I said, hey, just go ahead and you can take the day off. It's Mother's Day. I didn't gel my hair. If you've noticed, I shaved. I look like a baby face. It's because I'm going to go get a haircut tomorrow. So I didn't put any gel in my hair today. And so that's why we're doing kind of the Beatles do. Sorry. I can't believe how gray it is when it's not like gelled wet. So we'll be getting a haircut tomorrow. So that's the reason my hair's fluffy tonight. No gel in it like normal. But so I just wanted to let you guys know, no Kate. So we'll probably be a little lax on putting comments up. Please bear with me. Let's see what Alva says here. Friday, I paid this mother and that mother and then that mother and now wishing. I don't. That's crazy. I don't know exactly what you're saying there, but happy Mother's Day to everyone all the same. Joe Black is here. What happened to your hair? Just explained all that. Brenda, yeah. Feel better, Kate. Carrie, good evening. So just FYI, probably won't be getting many comments up just because it gets a little too much for me. So just keep in mind that. I apologize. Comment all down below. And you guys continue commenting in the chat. I will watch the comments. I will see what's going on, but we won't necessarily be putting those up. Obviously, hello, Stumblefoot. We don't care about no stinking comments. See, that's the way. That's the way. I hate that they even give us that option. I wish it wasn't an option. I know that so many of you people like it, and Kate likes it, and we like to engage with the comments, and I will always engage with the comments, but just putting them up on the screen, sometimes it gets a little much, but that's my belief. So thank you, Joe Black, for the joke. We'll get the joke of the day in here. Let's get this. The next door neighbor protested, your husband is 5'4", chubby, bald, and has a big mouth and is mean to your children. The wife replied, yes, but who wants him back? What we got going on here? Oh, you're telling, I didn't get it. I was like, what's going on here? A wife went to the police station with her next, see, I'm horrible at jokes. A wife went to the police station with her next door neighbor to report that her husband was missing. The policeman asked for a description. She said, he's 35 years old, He's 6'4", has dark eyes, dark wavy hair, and athletic build, weighs 185 pounds, is soft-spoken, and is good to the children. Ah, now it's so much funnier. The next door neighbor protested, your husband is 5'4", chubby, bald, has a big mouth, and is mean to your children. The wife replied, yes, but who wants him back? I love it. I get it now, Joe. Thank you. Let's see here what my nephew says. David Williams says, I might have to be leaving your show. I cannot believe that you badmouth Messiah Micah Beckwith. Beth, you idiot. I'm crushed that you would badmouth the Messiah. I love it. Good. So we started out the show with some jokes. So I'll tell you, we're still working on some of the same things that we've been working on for a while. I tell you, sometimes doing what we do, it's feast or famine, and sometimes it's just so much going on, and we've got a lot of content to bring you, and sometimes what we work on takes time. We're still working on some of the big things that we need to bring to you. We're still waiting, obviously, for records releases. Obviously, it's Sunday. With the first of the week being tomorrow, I'm looking forward to getting some records hopefully this week, and we've got a couple of other things coming on. I'm also hoping to, later this week, either Wednesday or Thursday, to have on Dr. Dan Stock. That will be a great interview, and it will be a good guest. It'll be a great episode. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. But tonight, because tonight is Mother's Day, I thought that we would maybe do it a little light, just come on, say Happy Mother's Day. And since we did the show last night the way that I did it on Saturday, I really should have talked about most of that stuff. I should have kept it off for tonight, because that I knew that the majority of the people would be watching tonight rather than yesterday. So I'm going to kind of recap some of the things from last night. However, before we do that, we are going to go over the critical aspects of the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting from last Thursday. I had it planned for last night. We did not go over that last night. Towards the end of the meeting, towards the end of the video, we watched the Board of Works meeting, which bizarrely was 34 minutes long. Literally, when I clicked on that and I saw that it was 34 minutes, I about freaked out. I could not believe that there was a Board of Works meeting that was 34 minutes long. Like, that's one of the longest meetings I think that these Board of Works members have ever had. In the past, they've had some meetings that have lasted 20 or 30 minutes, but I think that might have been the longest Board of Works meeting that this grouping of Board of Works members have ever had. I was shocked, but then hearing what happened in the meeting, I have reached out to a couple of those individuals, and I'm waiting on responses, so I'll keep you guys posted. Because I am going to be looking into a couple of those things that occurred in the Board of Works meeting. If you did not catch that meeting and you did not watch that on Wednesday, and you did not watch last night's episode, you can go back to last night's episode and go toward it. Watch the whole episode, or if you just want to skip to the meeting, you can go all the way to the end. It was probably the last 45 minutes of last night's episode where we went through that meeting and discussed that. So it's definitely something to watch. So without further ado, we're going to bring up the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting. And this meeting that we're going to be watching 5533. The meeting that we're going to be watching is going to be the meeting from Thursday the 8th. The Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting, most recent, was held at 9 a.m. on Thursday, May 8th. And it was held in the Delaware County Commissioner's courtroom up on the third floor of the Delaware County building downtown. So it's no longer going to be held at the Innovation Connector, which is a good thing. It means it will be live streamed and recorded in real time the same day. So no more waiting weeks for this meeting to start. That's really, really good. And I tell you, well, to kind of keep everything a little fresh before we get into the recap of last night, as to not bore my audience to death. I'll go over some state stuff real quick, which will take just a moment, and then we'll watch the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting, and then we'll go through the recap. Now, when I say the recap, I just want to be very clear. I feel like what happened on Friday when the elected officials at the state level held a legislative update, and they kicked out a journalist and told that journalist that it was a members-only meeting and update. I feel like that's something that really probably deserves a lot of talk, a more talk than just 45 minutes during the beginning of a show. I feel like that's something that we should probably harp on quite a bit, because it's a wild thing to think that they are honestly telling people you have to buy a $215 membership in order to participate in your state government if you live in Muncie and or Delaware County. And for those of you that didn't watch last night and have no idea what I'm talking about, it's maddening. And so we will go through that. But before we get there, I want to call your attention to a post on Facebook that I made earlier today. And this post was just honestly shocking. Now, before I do that, well, we're going to do that. I'm not going to show you the post. I will show it to you from the cheat sheet. So, listen, I want everyone to be aware. I don't just rely on people from my side, from my aisle, from my way of thinking. I listen to people that I am aligned with. I listen to people on the left. I listen to people that are more extreme than I am. I listen to people in the center. I listen to people that are on the left but are accused of being on the right. I listen to people on the right that are accused of being on the left. I listen to a little bit of everybody. I pull from a little bit of everything. And then at the end of the day, I kind of put that together, and I use my common sense and my time and experience in politics. Remember, this is not like something that I just jumped into last year. I've been engaged in local, state, and national politics for the better part of my life. So I use all of that to then kind of help curate my thoughts and my opinions and the various aspects of what I believe in. And so I know that there are a lot of people that question Abdulhakeem Shabbaz and rightly so, maybe not, maybe so. It's up to each and every person on what they believe and who they trust. There are times where he's put out information that has been spot on. There's been times that he's put out information that's been way off base. And so, it's, you got to take things with a grain of salt. But he had a paragraph that he released in his cheat sheet yesterday, which is a newsletter he puts out with political gossip and odds and ends. And it was rather interesting. And I saw this today and I was like, wait a minute. I'm not specifically taking it as complete, like this is the truth face value. I am going to do some digging, and I will be very clear on this. I'm aware of where everybody falls. I get it. But if you don't listen to all things, all sides, and dig through and look at what maybe someone that you don't align with is saying, maybe why they're saying it, what's going on, these things are important. So I just want to show you this little tidbit here on the page 5 of his cheat sheet. From yesterday, rather, he says the following: we're following up in our LNG, okay, which is a legitimate news guy capacity, which is what he calls it, on some ethics complaints being filed against Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. A lot of it goes to staffers who attend Beckwith's church, engaging in political activity on state time. Beckwith has reportedly given them his blessing. Even if they get caught, he would pay the fines. And that doesn't have to follow the ethical rules. Even to the point that Beckwith won't use state police to provide security because he doesn't trust them. So who's providing security? Members of his church, of course. Now, I'm not in the slightest bit confused on where Abdul lands and who he's affiliated with and what his goals are. That being said, there are more people than Shabbaz who have said and are saying that Beckwith is using people from his personal life, from his church life, from the church to do jobs for him. Now, what's interesting to me is when he says that Beckwith is not providing, he's not using the state police as security. That then brings me to the article that Beckwith actually gave a quote for, when Beckwith said the following: "We need a car that was big enough for the guys on my team because the previous lieutenant governor had a smaller car, because she had a bunch of women that would travel with her, and we got some big guys that go with us," Beckwith told the Indy Star. And so I said, hey, I've got to have something that's good for 3 or 4 guys. So when you start looking at those models, I mean, the price gets up there when you're talking about a new car. Okay. So I want to just be sure that someone is asking the question, who are we paying money? Who's paying these guys? What kind of training do these guys have? What's their what security clearance do they have? I mean, what is their background? Who are they? Do they carry guns? What is their level of proficiency with any weapons that they may or may not be carrying? And what's going on with that? I think that's very, very very strange. So I no, Kiff, I got to push back on that. I don't think it's a distraction to ask who Beckwith is employing, because it's not just in this. It's just not in this specific situation. He is absolutely walling himself off from anybody that has half of a brain to stop himself from being questioned and allowing him to continue to be the joke that he is being, rather than just taking legitimate criticism. And let me tell you this. Let me tell you something. It's bothered him enough. It's bothered him enough that when I put the post out this morning, let's see here. I put the post out 6 hours ago. I put the post at 1:13. I said, "Is this true? There's no way this can be true. Can we get a rundown on this?" In Shabbaz's Mother's Day cheat sheet that dropped yesterday, the following can be found. Beckwith won't use state police to provide security because he doesn't trust them. So who's providing security? Members of his church, of course. What? This can't be real, right? Can we get some more information on this? So this heavenly security detail, we'll call them the H team. This must be who Beckwith was talking about when he said, "We need a car that's big enough for the guys on my team. We got some big guys that can go with us. I've got to have something that's good for 3 or 4 guys. So let's just say this is all the way for true and for real, okay?" To me, that raises some questions. Who are these guys? What level of training? Because keep understanding this. Keep understanding this. Yeah, Kiff, you're exactly right. Absolutely. And so what goes along with that is a sense of fiscal responsibility. But let me also tell you something. Let me tell you something that I'm very concerned about, okay? Because I've been boots on the ground questioning these people and asking these people when these people have said, "No, we don't want you to record us. No, we don't want you here." And they've oftentimes, I've been pushed into a wall and my freedom has been taken from me. So please understand why I'm going to be concerned about something like this when I find out that this is something that is happening when we have people that may or may not be police officers. Because yes, I'm a Second Amendment advocate, and I believe everybody and anybody should be carrying a gun. I also believe everybody and anybody should be trained on a gun. And my question is, number one, as a fiscal conservative who's concerned about the taxes and the money and all of that, what are we paying these guys? How many guys are there? Who are they? What's the deal with these people? And you know what? At the end of the day, they might be state police officers, and this might not be anything. But this is a question that needs to be asked, because if I'm ever put in a situation where I'm asking Beckwith a uncomfortable situation and I've got 4 guys coming up to me in plain clothes, I want to know who the hell they are. Because if they start putting their hands on me or hands on other people, we need to know who that is. Because during a situation where I would be questioning Beckwith, like I've been in other situations, a police officer wouldn't have the right to touch me and violate my rights. Moreover than that, a church member of Beckwith's wouldn't, and that would be something that I definitely want to know, and that's something that's very bothersome. What's interesting to me is I put this post out at 1:16, and it must have bothered Beckwith enough, because he called me tonight while I was eating dinner at 6:36. He called me, and I'll put this up here so you guys can see this. Beckwith called me at 6:36. Now, I was eating dinner, so I was not able to get this, and I text him at 6:37 and said, it's Mother's Day. I'm at a dinner. Can I call you back? What's up? And he just simply said, sure. So there's nothing to agree or disagree on. I'm capable of fighting the water deal and fighting the governor and fighting property taxes and still wanting to know what kind of security force is around these elected officials. Listen, my question to you, in your activism, have you ever been handcuffed and slammed into a wall and taken to jail? If that's never happened to you, I could maybe understand why you don't understand my worry with this. I'm capable of fighting multiple fights at the same time. But when I know that the elected officials are starting to insulate themselves from the public, keep in mind, we just had a state government event on Friday. Hate Shabbaz all you want. That's fine. Hate Shabbaz all you want. This is still I don't know. I mean, I know him, but I don't care about him one way or another. It's still a legitimate concern and a legitimate question. The question is, if our elected officials are being surrounded by these private security forces, I think that's a serious concern. So, Glenda Davis. No, thank you. And, I appreciate that. So, so then you should be very concerned about this. This is something that should be concerning, because, in my situation, it was police officers that have done it, even though I myself am a former law enforcement officer, and what I was doing that required them to slam me into a wall and to take my freedom from me for that period of time was I asked a mayor a question. I specifically stood up and told them that they were the ones that were out of order. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't curse. I wasn't, the business of the meeting wasn't going on. I simply, as I was exiting the building, I said, you guys are the ones that are the joke. And at that time, it was police officers that were violating my rights. Now, if now finding out that this is a situation, look, and this is just one slice of the pie. There are lots of issues that are going on that we should be concerned with. And a lot of it can be tied back to fiscal conservatism. I want to know how much we're paying these people. Now, listen, if Beckwith was calling me to say, hey, I saw your post, I don't know what the hell Shabbaz is putting out, the guys that are around me are all law enforcement officers, then fantastic. I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. Absolutely. that being said, if not as concerned as I am toward sheriffs and judges, because they are and have been violating our rights. Absolutely. And so, right. So if the public at large is worried about sheriffs or other elected personnel, other elected public servants violating rights, then I think that it would also be very alarming that an elected public servant would have members of his church being a security force around that individual that could be in a situation. We don't know if these people are carrying guns. We don't know if they're carrying other types of weapons, and let me tell you, I'm going to be pissed off if a police officer violates my rights. I'm going to be even more pissed off if a citizen violates my rights at the behest of an elected attention seeker who isn't doing his job. That would be concerning to me. So, like I said, I think that it should be something that we should be able to focus on several different things at one time. I'm at the same time, while I'm concerned with what's going on at the state, I'm concerned with what's going on in Delaware County. I'm concerned with what's going on in Anderson. I'm concerned with what's going on in Henry County. So, I've got the capacity to fight several fights at one time, but you have to understand, my physical safety and my liberty and my freedom is the utmost importance to me over money or property rights or whatever. That should be everyone's number one concern, because if you have some deacon from a church pull a gun and shoot you because he thinks that you're going to question his boss, well, then your property rights don't really matter. Let's see here. Also, I love you pushing back and fighting. That's no problem. I love it. That is grand. Okay, so I just noticed that this morning. Whatever I posted, it must have set Beckwith off. I would have figured at 6:00 on a Sunday, he would have been preparing for Sunday night church. Even more so on Mother's Day. I found it kind of odd that he called me. I found it very strange that he called me on a Sunday, Mother's Day. So I will reach out to him tomorrow, and I will find out with what's going on with this. Hopefully, this is what he's wanting to talk about. So we'll find out. Okay, moving on from there, I want to now show you this Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting. And this is going to be just, we're not going to watch the whole thing. The whole meeting was an hour and 27 minutes. We're not going to watch this whole meeting, but we are going to watch the part that I consider to be the biggest, most critical part of the meeting. And I want to pull up the agenda here so we can see. Oh, I think I've got the agenda on my phone. Stand by. Let me see. Hopefully I don't even have to pull this up. I think I've already got it. Damn it. Okay, where are we at? That. A. Yep, right there. Okay. that would be. Delaware County. Okay, yeah, here we are, number 7. All right. So without further ado, we're going to bring this to you, and here we go.
We can do milling if we do paving. Right. I think we settled that last meeting. Yeah.
So the meeting, what I consider the most important part is number 7 on the agenda, which is ECIEDA update from 2024 events, Bill Walters. So that's what we're going to go for right now.
We get in there and see that one may not be, and there's an issue that we need to take read or something, we could deal with that. But if you third point, and there's an issue that we need to take read or something, we could deal with that. But if you don't want to interrupt the schedule and keep things, if there's a need to do this for the next meeting, you could also do that. Just throwing it out there.
They've already graded the roads this year, so the roads are we're good for them. Good shape now. So I think that's a good option. I think we have time. I'll get with Kyle.
Here we go. This is the end of topic 6.
Have those for the board.
And just one more thing, Mr. Grant and Mr. Henry, I did get a phone call today from Third Point. They're out on site on 6th West Point to start.
Nice. Bill and favor.
Yeah, start the milling process. We're gonna try to get the milling process started today. So it sounds like they're gonna try to do it, have it done by Monday.
And it's Case Construction out of Southern Indiana.
Now it's Greensburg, like that, yeah.
Have you got time to go out and look at that occasionally? Okay.
We're out that way, covering some pipes up today for first crew with some concrete and head that way in.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. If you guys have any other questions.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Thank you. Item 7, ECIEDA.
Good morning, Commission. You guys I give an updated sheet. I want to make sure everybody got it from the original that was sent out. I put a little more content. Madam President, the reason for my visit today is to give you an update on the 2024 events that took place in economic development. And if it's all right, I'll go ahead and summarize and answer any questions at the end. In 2024, we had 9 events. 3 of them were...
All right. Before we get started here, the reason that this is of importance, okay, the reason that this is important is because in October of 2023, the Redevelopment Commission came forth and gave Bill Walters and whatever his company was or whatever, who gave him a large chunk of money. And from October of 2023 through now, that money has never been accounted for. That money he's never came forward and given an accounting of where or how that money has been spent. And I'm going to tell you, I think that the Redevelopment Commission, I know that the Redevelopment Commission is not doing the work with him. I believe that they're doing that work. They're now giving that information to the Elizabeth Roway. I need to find all of this out because I'll be really honest. Even for those of us that are involved with this stuff, they use these acronyms, and they all have names very similar, and they all create these, you know, one-off business LLCs and all this stuff to create, and kind of, it almost is like, I'm not saying it's illegal, but it's almost like it's a shell game. They create all these different companies, and it's all the same people doing all the same thing, going to all the same places and getting all of these contracts. So I'm in the process of trying to put forward exactly what has happened from the beginning of this year to now with this, and with the person who was taking over for Bookout, because keep in mind, Bookout's no longer doing the job anymore. He wanted the job, but we had some people that were pushing back against it. And so in that time, I think that what's happened is Elizabeth Roway has crept up. And I think now Roway, I think, may be doing the job that Bookout used to be doing. I don't really know what's happening there, but my belief is that Shannon Henry is attempting to say, okay, I don't have the votes on the redevelopment commission, but I do have the votes in the commissioner's office. And you guys don't want to continue giving Bill Walters money for the redevelopment commission. I will take his contract to the commissioner's office, and we will vote on it in the commissioner's office. And that's what I think is happening. So we want to pay very close attention to what he is saying here. Okay.
Conferences, 6 of them were community tours. As you can see by your list on the community tours, a few of them you will recognize: Vitechnic, Project Turf, Colorflex of North America, Tubuline, Filtrex, Vaselli. These are tours that were come out of the 24 Washington, D.C. trip for the summit. These are tours that took place where they came in, toured the city. Some of them, as you're aware of, Vitechnic and Colorflex, those proceeded a little bit farther. In February of this year, Vitechnic cut the ribbon. They are out on Hoy Avenue in the Industrial Center. And then last month, Colorflex of North America signed the lease at 1300 South Gilmore Avenue. So we are in process of starting that. Getting that set up now. The machinery's coming out of Canada. It has cleared customs and waiting for that line to come in. So we did a lot of events as far as the ones we got out of the 2024 show. The events that are on there that are highlighted, we had 3 of those. That would be the SHOT Show in January, February there in Vegas. That there, we ended up with about 50 visits, 20 to 25 leads. We had 2 good military clothing manufacturers and an ammo manufacturer. Also, if you remember right, this is where SRM Concrete, the $22 million that we now have currently out on the rail spur, came from.
Listen to that.
Concrete show kind of runs simultaneously as that, and we were always able to get a ticket from someone, and us and the other administration, we kind of popped down and went through that, and that's where we ended up finding SRM. The Washington, D.C. flight you see on there, that there was kind of unique. We were called there not once, but twice asked to come. Commissioner Henry was on the last one. Senator Braun. 2023 was a big year for international development. We really hit it out of the park with Select USA. We had a lot of tours coming, a lot of feedback. That seemed to grow a little bit. And then we had the success of Inox, Clearline out of Canada. Some other events. Senator Braun, Senator Young wanted to know how it was. Commissioner Henry can confirm. We kind of went into great detail over what we do different than that, even to the point a little bit that the state kind of copied our presentation and how we handed out things. So I thought that was a plus for the economic group and what we had done there. The last big one is the SHOT Show, Select USA. Last year, you see that was one of the biggest expenses of the funds that we had out there. There were 7 attendees in that. That being from the year before, as Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Reagan was there as well. All 3 commissioners. We ended up splitting for the first time, I think it was, Shannon, in 4 years, 5 years. We had so many meetings that we could not. Usually me and a former Brad of Augusta, we would work those with a commissioner or a mayor there. We had too many, so we ended up having to split, and we each had our own separate meetings. Commissioner Henry would do one group, Commissioner King or Commissioner Reagan would do another. So we kind of split rooms and spread effort so we could get around more and more to the table. Out of that, we spawned, I did report in the commissioners meeting, and as you're aware, we're under some NDAs and kind of not trying to be secret. It's just the companies don't know whether they're coming and don't want to tip off the employees one way or the other.
He's talking about the SHOT Show.
As I went over them with the commissioners, we currently have 5 that we are working with coming out. I won't name their names, but they're lines of manufacturing, because that is all we are entertaining is manufacturing at this time. There was an airline or helicopter. One we're still working with on is a candy manufacturer, large within the United States, completely over all 50 states, 2 different chain stores. A varnish company that it ties into another steel manufacturer that we currently have in Delaware County now. A machine manufacturer that puts together machines from other countries here inside the United States and then sets up lines for them in all different fields. And then a plastic recycler. The last thing I'd like to touch on and going on in there is I passed out some of you new ones have got the presentation book. This is the one that we'll be doing next week in Select USA. It has a pretty good presentation. It shows you what services that we offer as a county, what the commissioners have us putting out there. That takes place, we leave Sunday. To give you an update where we currently are, it's increased since I talked to Commissioner Brand and Commissioner Henry. We have 27 meeting requests out there. We currently have 13 meetings set as of right now. As those 2 can tell you, that is a lot of meetings, and because there will be several more that will take place in the corridor and the atrium after you have your initial 30-minute speed dating contest. It really gets into, then you get into the nuts and bolts. Actually, what's going on? Sorry, Carrie. That's what it is. It's 30, you got 30 minutes and they keep it to a timer, and Shannon can tell you that it goes off and the tables move. So you got to get it done, and then you set up other meetings later, either for dinner or out in the atrium where you can get more into detail. So bottom line, coming out of 2024, you'll see the total was spent at $70,239.71. That leaves funds in your account at $131,070.07. I would entertain any questions at this time if you may have. This is an annual report I'll give again next year after we get through 2025. There's been no major expenses as of 2025. We've had a little bit with Vitechnic when we did the grand opening there. Colorflex, we're still working with that, so those are still coming in as we're setting up, getting the machines in from custom, and then Select USA right now going on it. After Select USA and those appointments come up, where we have interest, if we get them to visit here and the visit goes good and the commissioners deem it necessary, then the second part is we would go there, investigate their sites, make sure it is something that we want to do before we bring it back to the table here.
It was originally funded in 2023.
2023, yes.
Like the October meeting. I think, Carrie, you might have been the only member present for the meeting when this was presented.
Yeah, sure. I think so too. Yeah, that's what I remember. It was in 2023. I think the first year it was about a little over 50,000. Last year was 70,000. You still got 131 left of the 250. Correct. My recollection is that this has been a pretty good return on investment for taxpayers and business owners and citizens in Delaware County. So I've long been a supporter of this behavior. I did not total up the clear line investment Inox, but I mean, I think we're talking about $30-some million there, plus the jobs as we got now. We're at 40-some in Inox. I think you're close to 60 at clear line. And we just met with Didia on Inox. Let's just say that's going to increase. There's two new lines coming in there that I am well aware of, that I'm working with them now, that will increase employment job numbers there as well. And these are
right, Stumblefoot. Now I want you to listen to these questions that he's asked.
At the same time.
And this is not ECI or PD. This is a different org, right?
This is the alliance. Yes, this is the ECI Economic Development Alliance Incorporated that was set up as a side like the CDC. This is set up solely for international development. This was opened up not only, Delaware County currently is the only one that is inside of this realm. This was set up because other counties, Jay County and Grant County, have an interest to do this as well. Parameters have changed in that in Jay County or in Grant County. I don't want to get into those details right at the moment, but Jay County is still considering getting into being a part of the international.
Okay, I want to pause there for a second. So this dude is the guy that is over the regional planning district thing, whatever that is, and it's connected to Delaware County, Jay County, Grant County, and he's done that for a long time. And Brad Bookout was at Augusta Corp or Augusta Consulting or whatever, and he was doing whatever it was he's doing. Now he's a councilman, so he's not doing any of this in Delaware County. However, for the first time in several years, this year, Grant County has decided to end their contract with the man on the screen. You want me to tell you who they created a contract with? It was brought to my attention that at the March 17th, 2025 meeting of the Grant County Commissioners, that they had Augusta Consulting on their agenda, and in March, just a couple of months ago, they entered into an agreement with Augusta Consulting, Brad Bookout. Mr. Bookout presented a draft proposal for economic development in Grant County. This is a 90-day trial and has a 30-day exit clause. The start date is April 1st, 2025. Commissioner Polling made a motion to approve as presented, seconded by Commissioner Stewart. Motion carried 3-0. So, for the first time in years, all of a sudden, Grant County ends their relationship with Bill and enters into a relationship with Brad Bookout. And I can tell you from the scuttlebutt that I'm hearing that there's some kind of falling out between Bookout and Bill Walters. Okay, let's continue listening to what he's got to say here.
Some development over there, rural, as far as the agricultural side of it. The commissioners have changed over there. I think Mr. Brand's talked to a few of them over there. Mindset is changing. Ideas are changing. There's nobody knocking on the door. We have still got to go get them. And I think from what the state of Indiana has reached out to us, like I said, they have, Shannon can tell you from our visits down there, between our presentation, our coin sets, the way we lay it out, they have picked up on quite a bit of our technique and our presentation, which I think is a compliment to Delaware County. I think we're doing it right. I think we've proved we've done it right with the international development that we've been able to bring in. And as right now, what we need is, especially with SB1, jobs across the board. I want housing too. We all want housing, but right now, jobs are the number one thing. If we're going to income tax, we've got to increase the jobs, and skilled jobs, qualified jobs that we're not subsidizing on the front end, so that we have to subsidize on the back. These have to be jobs that people can buy cars with, can buy homes with, can plan a vacation, raise a family with. We are looking at the high dollar technological manufactured jobs. And if you visited Vitech and you went through that, you see that with the automation, the new machines, the techniques that are going on. We are not chasing something that, it's an assembly line drop and shoot. These are next generation technical jobs that we can skill up here with our agreement with IV Tech and Workforce, pull together and get these companies here.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving forward.
That's right, Tweety Bird. Something has happened, and they used to be thicker than thieves, no pun intended, or maybe pun all the way intended, but anymore, they're not. Something's going on.
What can change when you make this presentation again next year. I appreciate this presentation about Delaware County, but thankfully I live here and I know what we have to offer. So in the future, I would really appreciate it if we could see the return on investment that we're getting from this. If you could
put the dollars to the businesses that are
if
here,
you could-
I'd be more than happy to. This is the first presentation coming off of that resolution. I have no issue with that because those numbers are significant. I'd love to tout them right now.
Yeah, I mean, I
Right now,
appreciate that
they
you're
are.
writing them up, but I would love to see them in
I
a
agree.
tangible form
I
as
agree.
well. So that way we have something to enter into the record other than just speak. Not that I don't appreciate that.
We'll go back and I tell you what, I will send that to you in an email, but I will go back and refigure what we have, what I presented you here and what those investments were as far as INOX, Clearline, and what we have seen as a return on that investment.
And then my other question, with you going to Select USA next week, I'm assuming you've probably already reserved a bunch of that. Do you have?
They left today. So this was on Thursday. And they left for a trip in Washington, D.C. today. Now listen to what he gets ready to say here. And notice who is asking questions and who's not. So far, Amber's asked questions. Let's find out if anyone else. Here's Stephen Brand, and right next to him, you can't hardly see him, but here's Shannon Henry. So let's find out who all asks questions.
An estimate on what your total expense
It's going to be significantly less than last year. Last year was 7. We're only taking 3. Me, Michelle, and Commissioner Henry will be attending.
So, okay. Bill Walters, Michelle Batters, and Shannon Henry are already in Washington, D.C. as we speak. They left sometime today. Why is Michelle Batters there? But did you hear what he said? Let me back up and make sure. Only 3 of them went this year because King's not there. But who went last year?
To the businesses that are here, I'd be more than happy to. This is the first presentation coming off of that resolution. I have no issue with that because those numbers are significant. I'd love to tout them right.
I mean, I appreciate that you're writing them up, but I would love to see them in
I
a
agree.
tangible form
I
as
agree.
well. So that way we have something to enter into the record other than just speak. Not that I don't appreciate that.
We'll go back and I tell you what, I will send that to you in an email, but I will go back. And
Right.
what you have, what I
Go back and do that. Listen here.
INOX, Clearline, and what we have seen as a return on that investment.
And then my other question, with you going to Select USA next week, I'm assuming you've probably already reserved a bunch of that. Do you have an estimate on what your total expense?
It's going to be significantly less than last year. Last year was 7. We're only taking.
Last year they took 7 people. So Bill, we can assume Michelle, Shannon, King. We can assume that Brad Bookout went. That's 5. Who else went? Yeah, right. I know. But when you say she's the assistant, she's not. She gets the coffee. She's not an economic development guru of any kind. She's not in there, doing the work. She's getting the coffee and fluffing the pillows and doing all that stuff. So I'm not really sure why, that's a funky deal. I want to know who the 7 people are. And understand. Well, I'll just listen.
3, me, Michelle, and Commissioner Henry will be attending, so those will be down. The cost of it doesn't come down. Gaylord is
he should be the only one going. I don't know why Shannon's going. Maybe Shannon. Okay, you take 2 of them. Michelle does not need to be there. Why is Michelle? I mean, that's nonsensical. Michelle needs to stay back at the office and answer the phone calls.
expensive. The ones that know, they trap you into this event. To get into it, you're pretty much in the Gaylord. It's the whole resort. We don't leave it for 4 days. You don't need to. Everything is there. But it's expensive to get into the show. It's $1,200 a participant just to get on the floor, let alone hotel, meals, and everything else, airline. So, but no, we can definitely. It's not going to. I would say that out of this, you're cutting to the third year. You're looking probably around the $16,000 mark there. Like I said, there were 7 attendees last year, so it was quite a bit heavier.
Great, thank you.
No.
I'm understanding. So this is more, you're working primarily with the commissioners on this work.
This is
more the fiscal and the 7 attendees. I'm assuming that would be 3 commissioners and some other folks. So this is the commissioner, you and Michelle.
The 7 attendees. I'm really starting to like Lex Luthor. Lex, I think he's a good dude. He rides the fence and he's in there doing his thing. He's got his thing going on, but I like his sense of humor there. That's really hilarious to me. The seven attendees, I can assume that was the 3 commissioners and some other folks. Well, yeah, of course, it was the 3 commissioners. Okay, so all 3 commissioners went. Brad Bookout, Bill Walters, Michelle Batters, and we're missing one other person. I don't know who that 7th person would be. We'll have to find that out.
But the overall, how this is going is probably more engaged with commissioners. The commissioners set the total vision. I don't direct, I don't make those decisions. This money belongs to the commissioners of which county is represented. They paint the vision and give me the path they want forward, who they want to go, how they want it laid out. Shannon's been into it for several years here. James, former Commissioner King, did lead that at the one point, but yes, the vision is painted by the commissioners. We just fulfilled that vision. I have no request, and then I'll get that information to you on what the return has been. We can total that up and be more than happy to send it to the board.
I appreciate that.
All right. Thanks, Bill. Thank you.
All right. Wait a minute. Where's Steven? You mean to tell me Steven didn't have a single question to ask? Or did Steven sit quietly because he doesn't want to upset Bill, because that would upset Shannon, and he doesn't want to piss Shannon off because he doesn't want Shannon to run against his friend Matt Kantz? Does he want to make Matt Kantz's job easier in the campaign for 2026? Is that what's happening? I really hope we don't start seeing Brand sitting things out when he's got questions, or when there are questions to be asked. I'm really shocked Mr. Question didn't have a single question about any of what we just discussed there. That's really shocking to me. When I saw that, I was like, no way. Like, Amber and Rob were the only 2 people to ask questions. There were literally no questions from Brand? Okay, now let me see. Yes, right, Tweety Bird. You're right. That's exactly right. It doesn't seem like the Brand that we've been seeing. Or does it seem like the Brand that we've been starting to see? Maybe it does. So Kate, before she developed the headache last, I think Thursday or Friday, pulled this very, very useful document up. And this document is the taxes for the ECI Economic Development Alliance, what they were just talking about, care of Bill Walters. So let's take a look at this. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens there, David. And this is Kate's area of expertise, so we'll have to review this again when Kate's here. But looks like they're in 2024. They're saying they spent $79,669. Beginning of the year with 214,863. End of the year. Okay, let's go down here and take a look at what we've got. Give me a second here. We'll have to go back through this when okay, let's see. All right, let's take a look at this. What is this? Officers, directors, trustees, key employees. All right, let's take a look at this. So while King was the commissioner, he was also president of this thing. Oh, look, Brad Bookout, Bryce Conyers. Bryce Conyers was on the Redevelopment Commission. They spent $73,000 on travel. That's a shit ton of travel. That is a lot of travel. $73,000 on travel. Conyers is no longer on the Redevelopment Commission. He didn't get reappointed. Okay. 2023, they received the $250,000. That's absolutely right, Jeremy. They need to start taking the bus. They need to start walking. And I think she's also polled 2023, which we'll go back and look at that, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2023 is when the Vegas trip that we are concerned about was. Or it might have been in 2020. I don't know. I can't keep it straight. We'll have to find that out. All right, let me go poll 2023. Yeah. 2023 is when he received the money, when he first received the money. And interestingly enough, they voted on the money when Lex Luthor was he was out of the meeting. So it was the only people in the meeting was James King on the Redevelopment Commission board at that time was James King, Bryce Conyers, Michelle Batters, Angie Moyer, and Rob Kiesling. And Rob Kiesling was like the odd man out vote, but he was gone on like a fall break or something. He was gone for some reason. And the four of them, while he was gone, voted to give this $250,000 to William Walters. Okay, so they spent almost $76,000 in 2023. Let's see how much of that was travel. And there everybody is again. $70,333. $70,335 in travel. Can you believe that? So I'm going to start issuing some record requests. I'll issue them tomorrow and put all this together because I want to do the math and make sure that the math completely maths out. I think that I've just got this gut feeling that there's something going on here. So that's that. Basically, let me tell you where we are with all of this. I have no problem saying, I don't know where we are here. I've looked at a meeting, I've got a bunch of information, and now we're in the process of crunching that information and letting it say what it is. And listen, I'm going to be upfront and honest with you. If it comes out and everything's okay, I'm going to tell you it was okay and everything's all right. If there's an issue here, I'm going to say, hey, there's an issue here. I'll let you know. You know, I'm just, it is going to be what it's going to be. I'm going to have Kate help me look through this, and we're going to crunch the numbers, and we're going to look at everything and get, I'm going to get all the records that he was going over. I'm going to try to get all the receipts and all the information, and we'll look at it. We'll put it all together, and we'll just let the evidence take us where it is. If they're above board, it's above board. If it's not, it's not. But I'm extremely interested in why all of the sudden Grant County's fumbling, and changing partners and changing who's doing the contract. I'm very interested why all of a sudden Brad won and he's just completely removed himself from any of this money. I mean, just completely removed himself from the money, which is wild. I don't know who just gives up that kind of lucrative money. Now, obviously, he's going up to, Grant County, and he's going to get some money from them. I was told by a source up in Grant County, however, that they won't mess around with him, that they got 2 new commissioners that came in, and the 2 new commissioners that came in are 100% above board. And they said they will make him work, and they will make him show his work. And if there's any kind of funny business, they will cut him loose in a heartbeat. So I'm interested in, what's going on there. I'm going to try to contact them and find out, what their thoughts are here. But there's a really strange deal with why Brad and Bill have had a falling out. That's strange. And so we're gonna find that out. So this is obviously something that I've added to the list of things that we're working on, and something that we'll bring back to you at a later time. Okay, before we wrap up, we're almost done, and I'm not going to keep you much longer. I know it's late Sunday. It's Mother's Day. I'll let you get back to the family. But I just want to recap what occurred Friday for anyone that didn't watch last night's show. On Friday, State Representative J.D. Prescott, State Representative Elizabeth Roway, State Senator Scott Alexander all came together for a legislative update. And they came together for a legislative update inside of the Ivy Tech College building uptown. Okay, so these are public officials talking about what happened during the legislative session, the 124th session of the Indiana General Assembly in the year 2025. They were doing this update inside of a college building, which is funded by tax dollars. And because State Representative Roway is also the CEO of the Muncie Chamber of Commerce, they ran this as a Chamber of Commerce event, which is something that they've had in the past. And in the past, while they may have always only allowed members and not just random public, they have at least allowed members of the press. And for some unknown reason, on Friday this year, they kicked out long-standing, long-term newsman Rick Yenser. Now, I understand that everybody says, well, wait a minute, he doesn't work for the Star Press anymore. Or wait a minute, he's a liberal. Or wait a minute, he's got a drinking problem. Or wait a minute, this and that and this and that. Well, let me tell you something. I don't care what his political bent is. He is a journalist. He writes, he puts out information, and I'll be honest, the information that he puts out covers a lot of information. He covers school board meetings. He covers the Ball State trustees meetings. He covers the other strange offshoot quasi-governmental meetings, the MITS school, the MITS bus stuff, and all of that. And while, yeah, I do notice and read and see the liberal slant in his writing, everybody else can see it as well. And what really pisses me off about what occurred on Friday wasn't even just the fact that they kicked him out. It was the fact that after they kicked him out, after years of him being a participant there, they kicked him out. And when people started going crazy about this and having an attitude about it and pushing back, we have local officials who had no reason getting involved in this fight, getting involved and making them look like they are much bigger and better and more elite than everybody else, and looking down their nose at Rick and everybody else in the city of Muncie and in the county of Delaware. And it's absolutely gross. Absolutely gross. One commenter said, elected officials, why the secrecy? If you expect us to pay for whatever it is you're planning behind closed doors, those doors need to be opened. And Delaware County Councilor in District 3, Matt Kantz, who is a candidate for commissioner for 2026, wrote the following. It is a paid event put on and paid for by chamber members. They do it 3 or 4 times every session. Feel free to join and pay for the lunch that everyone who attends must pay in addition to being a member. If Mr. Yinser is a real journalist, perhaps he could join the chamber as a member of the press. I'm not sure citizen journalist is a business, but yeah, I do. Look. All right, here we go. So I wrote back to Matt Kantz, and as I read yesterday, and I'll read this and then we'll go. I read, Matt Kantz, watch yourself. Although I'm not a journalist, what I do pays my bills. I then went on to say, that said, I understand private memberships to events and such. It just looks gross when Elizabeth Roway, as a public servant, also happens to be connected to the chamber, and that's what made this event exclusive. I have never liked her being a state representative and in her position at the chamber and being connected to the economic development of the county. I would much rather her just do the chamber and other crap and not be a state representative. There's always 2026. I guess we can make it happen. The point is the chamber should be able to hold whatever private events they want to. I have no problem with that. It's just that the assholes that make up the state level public servants should understand what something like that and what happened on Friday looks like, what it appears like. Let's be real. I can show you example after example of several other times where J.D. Prescott and other like-minded adults have wanted to do their updates not on camera, or they've not wanted to allow public into where they've been doing these, even though, unlike this, the public were allowed to be there. So this is just par for the course for most of them, which gets us down to the biggest issue. The fact that I feel public servants should attempt in every aspect of what they do to remove even the slightest appearance of impropriety, that's the issue. And the fact that everything they do, they should do it, everything in their power to be open, transparent, and one of their biggest roles or jobs should be meeting the public and the people where they are in every possibility, even remotely possible. Whatever the case may be, they should always work on the side of, well, let's be open and transparent. Look, the bottom line is nobody even believes these representatives and the state senator. You know, no one but their friends think what they're saying matters. We're all angry and nobody is happy with the job they're doing. So it's not the end of the world that Rick Yenser wasn't allowed to be a part of the meeting yesterday. It's just the principle of the thing. I'll always fight for the First Amendment. What they did yesterday was absolutely gross. Friday. I knew about this, but I didn't attempt to go because I've already had an ass full of everything they've had to say this session. I've heard it up to here. I've had it up to here with hearing how they've worked for us and everything they've done for us. I've paid very close attention to everything they've done this session, and in my estimation, they've not done shit. They've made things worse for us Hoosiers. I didn't know Friday's legislative update was a member-only event. Had I known, I would have went and I would have fought that, and that would have been a hill that I would have died on. It just makes me so irate, man. Even talk about it. Even now being like 3 days removed, I get so angry. It's just so incestuous. That's the problem. Maybe, just maybe, the state officials should realize that closed door updates just don't look good, period. Nothing more needs to be said. I don't need to hear anything back from you or anyone else about that. It's just not a good look. See you, Alva. Again, nothing of importance happened there, but the people just don't trust them to start out with, and this just adds to that. Now, I don't know why this needed to be a closed door meeting. I don't know what was being said. I don't know what you felt needed to be discussed or what they felt needed to be discussed outside the presence. I mean, what's the point of throwing Yenser out? He didn't take up any more oxygen in the room. Him being present didn't cost you anything. You didn't need to feed him. But the fact that they threw him out is insane. Here's the problem. What this tells us is these people absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, believe that they are greater than us. They are the elites above us. We are just the peons. They don't give a shit about citizens of Muncie. They don't give a shit about citizens of Delaware County. They don't give a shit about citizens of District 33 or 34 or 35 or 36 or District 26 or the whole damn state of Indiana. They just simply don't care. It's about getting control of the power, keeping the power, maintaining the power, and feeding off that power and becoming stronger and bigger and better. It's not about public service. And that's the problem. Now, I don't know. I still have not talked to Rick. This is a holiday weekend. From last night to today, I still have not talked to Rick. I don't know what kind of fight he put up or protest he put forward. But I'm going to show you one of the absolute grossest things from this. At some point, either while they were kicking him out, before they kicked him out, during the moment when they were kicking him out, he attempted to snap pictures. And a public servant for the state of Indiana, felt like she should do this following thing. She covered her face in an attempt to hide from his picture. What an absolute childish gesture. What an absolute moronic gesture. The fact that she thought that no one was going to notice it was her. Oh, where did Elizabeth go? We must elect these people back to the private sector. We must unelect them from the positions they are in. We must vote against these people. We must not send these people back to the state house. But in order to do that, people have to step up to run. They have to run serious campaigns. They must run hard campaigns. And we that don't run, that are out here, must help them. We must volunteer for them. We must donate money to them. We must walk for them. We must push, and we must remain pissed off. This picture needs to be burnt in the minds of every Hoosier voter. This is gross. And I don't care if you like Rick Yenser. I don't care if you don't like Rick Yenser. So here's what I did. I filled out the application yesterday and I applied, and I'm going to pay the $215. And we're going to deputize Rick, and he's going to be, see, we're not journalists here. We're political commentators. So we'll use Rick as a journalist, information gatherer for the political spotlight. And now Rick will be able to go, and I'll go, and he'll go. And I dare them to throw my ass out of there. Absolutely gross. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear more, I went on a rant last night for probably close to an hour about this. If you want to hear more about that, you can go back and listen to that. I just Man, I'm telling you, it makes me so irate. And seeing this picture, it absolutely pisses me off. It is so gross. And any elected official that feels this way, that feels like they are above you, above me, above us, above the constituents, well, we need to show them how little we think of them, and we need to send their ass back to being the absolute nothing knobs that they are. 2026 is here, folks. I know it's not even, we're not even at the midway point of the year. It's not even June. But as far as the election cycle, 2026 is here. Just breathe one day at a time. One day at a time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a very, very, very good rest of your evening. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. Have a wonderful start to your work week. We will be back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. As always, God willing. You guys take care. God bless each and every one of you. We will see you back here tomorrow at 9. If you need to get a hold of us, if you want to follow us on social media, follow us on YouTube, on Rumble, on Facebook, on X. If you need to get a hold of us by the studio line, you can text or call. There's our email to my private email to the show's email, and all of that information. Thank you very much for those that reach out and give us information. Continue doing that. If you could smash that like button before you leave, and we would be very grateful if you would do that. Please consider subscribing to the show if you're not subscribed, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Good night.